A lot of people will think that letting go of their stories is like walking out of a dark room and into the light, but it's not. During a session recently, a client of mine described it in a way that was way better than I ever could. She said it was like stepping out of a forest, an area that she knew, and coming to the edge of a cliff. This video is about that moment and why it's the most important one. I was in a 2-hour intensive session with a client. She's a coach. She's been 3 years into her business. She's a brilliant woman and the kind of person who really does light up the room the second she walks in. But she was stuck. Not because she lacked ability, and not because the business model that she had was wrong, and not because she wasn't working hard enough, because she certainly was. She was stuck because of her stories. Stories she'd been carrying for about 40 years of her life about being late to the game, about having made all the wrong choices and all the wrong decisions in her life, about not being where she was supposed to be at this age, about money, about safety, about what it actually meant that she had left a 6-figure job, moved back in with her ex to start a business, and that most people called irresponsible. These weren't small stories. They were her operating systems. And about 90 minutes into our session, we got the moment that I want to talk to you about today. We'd spent the session unpacking all these stories, examining them, questioning them, asking what purpose they were serving her, and they were collapsing like one after the other after the other. And then a key moment came when I asked her this question. I said, what would it look like if you let go of all of these stories? She paused. She went deep into thought. And then eventually she said, it's like I'm in a forest. These trees they're all around me. These are my stories. This is what I know. Like, I know this forest. I've been here for such a long time now. I've been here my whole life. I know which paths are safe. I know where the roots are so I don't trip over. I know how to navigate the wolves when they come. Even the bad parts, I know how to handle them because this is what I know. At this stage, I didn't say anything. I was just listening. I wanted to let her keep going. And then she said, but when you asked me about what I would do about these stories or without these stories, I would walk to the edge of the forest and I'd be standing on a cliff and there's nothing. No bridge. I can't see over the other side. No trees, no path, just open air. And I have absolutely no idea what's down there. And that's when I knew she had actually hit it. Because that feeling, that terrifying, groundless, nothing on the other side feeling, is exactly what letting go of your stories actually feels like. It doesn't feel like relief. Well, not at first. It feels like the ground is gone. And here's what I said to her. You've survived 52 years in this forest without getting eaten by wolves. There's been thunder and lightning and mosquitoes, paths that led nowhere. Times where you were completely lost and you navigated every single one of them. Then she said something that stopped me. She said, yeah, I know how to get through these woods. And she said it with this confidence. Like, I hadn't heard this from her during the whole session. It was defiant almost. Because in that moment, she wasn't talking about her stories anymore. She was talking about herself. And so I pointed this out to her. Do you hear that? Do you hear what you just said? That confidence? That's not the forest giving you that. That's you. That's what you've built. The stories didn't survive you. You survived the stories. Because this is the thing that most people will miss about their old stories. The forest feels safe because it's familiar. But familiar isn't the same as good. Familiar just means you've been there before. The wolves in the forest are still wolves. The dead-end paths are still dead-end paths. The difference is that you know them by name. The cliff isn't more dangerous than the forest. It just doesn't have names yet. And that's when I asked her, probably the biggest question for her. I said, what do you need in order to step off the cliff? To jump, so to speak. And so she thought about it. After a little bit of time, she said, a bridge. Or to be able to at least see on the other side, or at least some type of guarantee. And so I said to her, what if none of those things are coming? What if there is no bridge? No visible other side? No guarantee? What if you just had to jump? That's when she went quiet for a moment. And then she said it. Probably the most important part. She said, that's it, isn't it? That's what we'll be talking about in 3 years. I jumped off the cliff. And that's what everything grew from. Just for reference, one of the games I like to play with my clients is like, I'll ask them, in 3 years' time, after this conversation, you ring me up one day and you said, hey Nathan, it's been 3 years since we spoke, and ever since that conversation, this is what's happened, and I get them to explain what has happened. That's what she's talking about in regards to the 3 years. And it was in that moment when she realized that she'd already been doing it. She'd already been jumping. She had left her 6-figure job, her comfortable 6-figure job, because her body was shutting down and she wasn't healthy, she wasn't well. She'd been asking for help when she thought she had nothing or she thought she didn't have any support, but she had been asking for help. She'd been saying no to cruises, to going to reunions, to other competition, not from shame, but from choice, because she's trying to manage her finances now as opposed to what she was doing before. And she's started to change her language from I can't to I'm choosing to. All of those things, they were not small moves. All of them were jumps. She just hadn't called them that yet. I want to be really straight with you about something here. A lot of people in personal development, in the personal development world, will tell you that letting go of your stories is liberating. It's empowering. It's a relief. And it is, eventually. But the first thing it feels like is terrifying. And nobody says that. Because your stories aren't just your limiting or negative beliefs. They're your whole map of your current reality. They tell you who you are, what's safe, what's possible, what you deserve. If you take all of those away, of course, it feels like you're standing on the edge of a cliff with nothing below. But this is what I've seen across over a decade of doing this work. The forest doesn't protect you. It only makes the danger more familiar. And the people who I've worked with who have genuinely changed, not tweaked, not optimized, but actually changed, they all had to stand on the edge of their own cliff first. They all had to feel the groundlessness, and they all had to jump. Not because it was safe, because the forest stopped being worth it. So here's what I want you to sit with this week. Think about the story that you're most attached to right now, in this very moment, this very day. The one that explains where you are and what got you here. The one that's been with you the longest. And ask yourself this: is this story true, or is it just familiar? What would it feel like to walk to the edge of your own forest? And what's the jump that you've been postponing, that you already know you need to take? If you're at the cliff, your own cliff, right now, that terrifying, groundless place where the old stories have really run out and you don't know what to do next, that's not a crisis. That's the work, and that's the work that I do. There is a link in the description below if you want to talk through what's on the other side for you. A genuine conversation to understand what's happening, just like the conversation I had with my client. Feel free to use the link, or don't. Just don't go back into the forest and pretend that that cliff isn't there. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you joining me today. If you liked the video and you like my work, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notifications just to let YouTube know that you would like to see more of it, and ideally so I could reach more people as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.